Alright, mga students, hello, welcome back. Pag-usapan natin sa ngayon, sa video lecture na ito, yung VAT registration. So, etong lecture na ito ay medyo maiksi-iksi lang, Kasi papaliwanag ko lang sa inyo, when do a person need to register as a VAT-registered entity? So, kailan ba kinakailangan na mag-register? Under the tax code, which is the National Internal Revenue Code or yung tinatawag natin na NIRC, VAT registration is classified into two categories. The first one is mandatory and the second is optional. Pag sinabi nating mandatory registration, ito yung required ka na mag-register. Kinakailangan mong magpa-register as a VAT entity. Kasi nag-fall ka dito sa mga criteria na ito. Any person or entity na nagbebenta, nagbabarter, nag-exchange at nagpapaupa ng mga goods or services subject to VAT, if the aggregate amount, anong ibig sabihin ng aggregate amount? Yung kabuuang amount, no? Yung total, yung sum ng actual gross sales or receipts. Okay? Gross sales or receipts, actual, no? Exceed 3 million. So pag lumagpas po ang benta ninyo sa 3 milyong piso, beginning the effectivity of the train law, okay, tax reform for acceleration and ano nga yung I? Nakalimutan ko bigla, no? Bigla akong na blanco. Okay? From the time that the train law was taken into effect, beginning January 1, 2018, So kapag lumagpas ng 3 million ang iyong benta, actual gross sales or receipts, for the past 12 months other than those transactions that are exempt from tax. Okay? Or there are reasons to believe that the gross sales or receipts for the next 12 months ay hihigit ng 3 milyong piso. Sa ngayon, hindi na natin poproblemahin na yung ating train law kasi it happened already. We are already in 2021. Okay? However, maaring for classroom purposes tanungin kayo Okay? Before train law. Okay? Please take note of the criteria here. Kapag lumagpas ka ng 3 million pesos for transactions except those that are under exempt transactions, no? Or there are reasons to believe. We are expecting na hihigit ng 3 milyon yung ating benta sa darating na isang taon or 12 months. Kasi currently, umaabot na tayo almost ng 3 million, although hindi pa nga lang umaabot. Pag na-reach na natin yung threshold na yan, yung limit na yon then we are mandated, we are required to register. Okay? As a VAT-registered entity. Pangalawa, yung mga radio and television broadcasting companies. GMA, ABS-CBN, TV5, kung sino-sino pa mang mga maliliit, no? Whose annual gross receipts, please take note, annual gross receipts, no? Of the preceding year, okay, the previous year, exceeds 10 million peso. Pag lumagpas ka ng 10 million, then, and if you are a radio or television broadcasting companies, then required ka na magpa-register kay BIR. The mandatory registration applies within 30 days from the end of the taxable year to radio and TV broadcasters whose gross annual receipt for the taxable year exceeded 10 million. Pag mga persons or entity na other than radio and or television, pag lumagpas ng 3 million, required. But for radio and television broadcasting companies, dapat 10 million ang ating threshold. Okay? Or a person required to register as a VAT taxpayer but hindi nakapag-register. Okay? Mandated po yan. Dapat, kinakailangan mo magpa-register. Nag-fall ka dito. Let's say sa number 1 or sa check 1. Hindi ka nakapagpa-register. You are mandated to register because you are already under this and it is already a requirement for you. Sa second category, sa second classification, optional registration, eto naman ang magfo-fall sa kanila. Pwede kang magpa-register pero optional lang. Okay? If you are a VAT-exempt persons or those not required to register for VAT. Hindi naman kinakailangan na magpa-register ka. Pero gusto mong magpa-register, di pwede naman. Okay? Hindi naman yung pinagbabawal ni BIR. Or even if you are a VAT-exempt person, ano? So you may elect. Pwede mong mapagdesisyonan na magpa-register. Okay? Punta ka lang sa pinakamalapit na RDO kung saan nakarehistro ang iyong negosyo, and you have to pay the annual registration fee for every separate and distinct establishment. Please take note, for every separate and distinct establishment. Kasi eto, karamihan sa mga organisasyon, sa mga, especially pag mga businesses, instead of simply one corporation or one business organization, marami pa yung iba't ibang negosyo. So dito, kinakailangan every separate and distinct establishment. Hindi pwede na, isa lang naman yung may-ari nito, i-elect ko ito as a one. No? So, dapat individual. Now, meron tayong naka-highlight dito, na any person na nag-elect magpa-register under optional registration shall not be allowed to cancel his registration for the next 3 years. Well, you elected, you opted to enroll as a VAT-registered entity. Pero eventually parang hindi mo masyadong na-appreciate yung value ng pagiging VAT-registered mo. O hindi mo pwedeng i-cancel yung registration for the next 3 years. Okay? So, that's it, That's the rule. Now, for franchise grantees. Kanina 'di ba sa mandatory registration pinag-uusapan natin mga radio and television broadcasting companies. Yung mga franchise grantees nitong mga ito, whose annual gross receipts of the preceding year ay hindi lalagpas ng 10 million. Okay? Pwede pa rin po sila magpa-register if they want. However, once you elect this option, it is already available. Wala na pong bawian. Once na nag-select ka na, nag-transfer ka na. Unlike dito, pag mga VAT-exempt persons or those not required to register for VAT, but they elected to do so, pwede po yan magpa-cancel ng registration pero after 3 years. But for franchise grantees ng mga radio and or television broadcasting companies, irrevocable na po yung option na yan. Alright? How about, kasi kanina pinag-usapan natin ito, yung person required to register as VAT taxpayer but failed to register. Ano magiging penalty nila? Kasi syempre, kung wala yung penalty, di hahayaan lang nila na hindi sila magpa-register. However, mapipenalize po sila if they do not register. Because, paano yung penalty niyan? Taxpayer shall be liable to pay tax as if he were a VAT-registered person. The benefits of input tax credit for the period he was not properly registered. Ganito, class. Di ba, hindi siya nagpa-register. Pero dapat subject to VAT na siya. O liable pa rin siya magbayad ng VAT as if siya po ay VAT-registered person na. Yun nga lang, bukod sa magbabayad ka na ng 12% VAT, hindi niya pa pwedeng ma-avail yung input tax. Kasi di ba, ino-offset natin yan. Output minus input, that is your VAT payable. So, hindi ka naka-register ng VAT, pero kailangan mo pa rin maningil, mangolekta. Kailangan mo pa rin mag-remit. Okay? Liable ka pa rin bayaran yung tax na yon. Okay? Kahit na, syempre, hindi ka elected, hindi ka nag-elect ng VAT, let's say 100,000 yung siningil mo, so kakargahin mo, you are liable para bayaran yung 12% VAT na yon. So that is your penalty. Okay? Hindi mo yan naipasa, Hindi ka nagko-kolekta kasi pero dapat nangongolekta ka. Dahil hindi ka nag-collect, you are the one that will shoulder the cost of the VAT. Now, dahil nagpo-purchase ka at may mga 12% VAT din yon, hindi mo magagamit siya. Okay? You cannot avail the benefits of that input tax credit. So, yun po ang masaklap po dyan. So, if you will fall doon sa 3 million threshold at required ka na magpa-register, dapat magpa-register ka na. Otherwise, yan po yung kakahinatnan mo. How about sa mga mag-asawa, no? Meron tayong VAT threshold ba? Ang sinasabi dito, class, for purposes of the threshold na 3 million, no? The husband and wife shall be considered as separate taxpayers. So pinaghihiwalay po natin si husband and wife. However, yung aggregation rule for each taxpayer shall apply. Okay? So we will apply the aggregation rule. Now, cancellation of registration. Instances when a VAT-registered person may cancel. When is the time na pwede tayo mag-cancel? Please take note na pagdating doon sa mga radio broadcasting companies, irrevocable yan. Ang pwedeng mag-cancel ay yung mga nandoon sa criteria number 1. Pero sabi doon, di ba, hindi ka makakapag-cancel within 3 years. Pero may mga pagkakataon na yung VAT-registered person pwedeng i-cancel yung kanilang VAT registration kung, of course, no, hindi pa rin pwede doon sa 3 years. Pero after 3 years, pwede na silang magpa-cancel ng registration kung eto, no, if he makes written application and can demonstrate to the commissioner satisfaction that his gross sales and receipts for the following 12 months will not exceed 3 million. Okay, other than tax-exempt transactions, no? Number 2, if he has ceased to carry on his trade or business and does not expect to recommence any trade or business within 12 months. Halimbawa, naapektuhan ako ng pandemic, yung aking negosyo. Dati na parehistro ng VAT. Okay? Pero hindi po ako makakapag-recommence ng aking negosyo dahil talo lugi sa negosyo. Pwede ko pong ipa-cancel yung aking registration. Now, ang sinasabi dito, cancellation will be effective from the first day of the following month the cancellation was approved. Okay, the following month po, pwede na po itong may take effect, yung cancellation ng VAT registration. Last item, I think, no? Power of the commissioner to suspend business operations. When is the time that the commissioner of the Internal Revenue, the CIR, can suspend business operations? Sabi dito, the CIR, which is the Commissioner of Internal Revenue or its authorized representative, may order suspension or closure. Pag suspend, temporarily close. Pero pag closure, permanent closure na ito, no? For a period of hindi bababa ng 5 araw of not less than 5 days for any of the following violations. So kung nakita ng commissioner, no, na nag-violate ka because you failed to issue receipts or invoices, hindi ka nag-file ng VAT return, tapos in-understate mo yung mga taxable sales or receipts by 30% or higit pa. Halimbawa, ang taxable sales ko ay 100,000. In-understate mo, meron tayong under-declaration. Sabihin na natin na dineclare mo lang 50,000. Understated yan ang 50%. Okay? So, that will fall on 30% or more, understatement. So, pwede kang ipasuspend or ipasara ni BIR, or failure of any person to register as required under the law. Ito ba yung isang penalty? Kung dapat registered ka sa BIR for VAT, hindi ka nagpa-register, so you may be suspended. Yung business operations mo may be suspended or closed. Okay? So, yan po, class, yung ating mga items that we have to consider under this concept of VAT registration. Please take note, meron tayong mandatory, which is required ka na magpa-register, or optional, which is at your option, at your discretion, pwede ka pong magpa-register. Any questions, please let me know para masagot ko ang inyong mga katanungan, but hanggang dito muna tayo sa illustration na ito. Ang susunod na ipapakita ko sa inyo ay mga simple na sample computations on VAT matters. Okay, so hanggang dito muna tayo. I'll see you sa susunod na video lecture. Bye-bye!